The skills of intimacy aren't boring at all.
Bruce, you talk about this paradox that you're writing on, the passion paradox. Can you explain that a little bit, what that means?
Yes, I'm happy to. Yeah, that's the book I'm working on now, actually. That's the title of the book. The subtitle I'm still working on, but it's going to be something like When You Feel Miles Apart and Still Love Each Other. So that's kind of who it's aimed at. Yeah, the passion paradox, the paradox part, and anybody who's worked with me long enough knows I'm a sucker for a good paradox. The particular paradox I'm talking about is there are these two sets of needs, and there's many ways of describing, like, what do you need to be in a couple relationship that you want to stay in? A lot of ways of looking at it. But my favorite way is to say, well, there are these two sets of needs. And the reason I talk about two sets of needs, and here's where the paradox comes in, they're both needs. They're both really important. You know, I mean it, like, if they're not sufficiently fulfilled, something is not working. It gets sick. Well, that's what happens to a relationship when these needs aren't fulfilled. The reason I talk about two sets is that skills you need for one are in conflict with the skills you need for the other. And yet they're both needs. So what do I call the two sets? I call them stability and intimacy. There are other people that use somewhat different terminology, but that's what I'm talking about. The skills you need for stability, it's really all about keeping the anxiety level low, to keep things stable. You know, I do note that nobody makes a first appointment with me, a couples therapist, just to tell me how stable everything is. The skills of stability are character traits, and I call them the boring trifecta. The boring trifecta are being responsible, being reliable, and being accountable. I'm not knocking them by calling them boring, but they're boring. But those are the skills of stability. Intimacy, I better define my term, intimacy, because sometimes people mean sex, right? I don't just mean sex. I mean, much more broadly, intimacy is when you are present and honest with yourself and each other. No couple is intimate 24/7 because I'm not even present with myself 24/7. You go down a social media rat hole or something, it's like, okay, where was I? But couples need sufficient intimacy in that sense to feel alive. That's what makes you feel alive. The skills of intimacy aren't boring at all. They're terrifying. The skills of intimacy are to tolerate anxiety without freaking out.